Sports presents Eagle League Professional Box Lacrosse. Brought to you by Gold Medal Sporting Goods, the official retail outlet of the Philadelphia Wings. Now from the Spectrum, the Philadelphia Wings and the Washington Wave. Hi, everybody. 6 short weeks ago, the Eagle League was filled with question marks. Now a team has formed. It's the Philadelphia Wings. They're in the playoffs, and Larry Rosen with Tony Seaman. The playoff exposure of the Wings and coming together as a team looked like the team to beat going down the stretch.
Yeah, they certainly are. They're playing very well. We've emphasized all along that their defense has improved every game. Kevin Bilger has been very strong in the goal, and they're getting out great, outstanding offensive performances from the French brothers and John Tucker.
We'll talk about John Tucker. He has really emerged as a leader on this squad emotionally and with his performance as well. He does it on both ends of the floor. You got to love that. You
got to. He straps them on. When the whistle blows, he's there to play. We started off as the enforcer, the man who would take care of the other players on the floor. He's added some offense to that. He plays good defense.
The French connection, Mike and Paul French, the French brothers who are now Philadelphia residents, have really piled up the points against the Washington Wave, especially Paul French, who's put 10 points on the board in 2 games against the Wave.
Yes, he's been outstanding, and if he can keep that up tonight, it's always tough to come back and beat somebody 3 times in a row. We'll see if they can do it tonight.
Philadelphia has had solid goaltending start to finish. Kevin Bilger's game has improved throughout the entire course of the season. Now really could be the premier goaltender along with Vinny Pfeiffer from New Jersey. Meanwhile, for the Washington Wave, their goaltending has been a question mark. Kind of a little bit of Russian roulette with all their goalies. We'll see Bruce Winan tonight. What do we know about Bruce?
Bruce is from Washington College. He's probably got the most experience now that Little has become an assistant coach and retired the pads. He had a very, very strong game against the Baltimore Thunder. They say he's the reason they won that game in a big upset.
Also on the offensive side, we'll not see Neil Bartholomew, one of the high scorers for Washington, will be missing tonight due to the flu, but they do return Brad Kotz. I haven't seen Brad Kotz, heard a lot about him. What can we expect out of Brad Kotz?
Brad Kotz is one of the best pure shooters that lacrosse has ever seen. He shoots an overhand shot. He, like Tucker, comes to play.
He had a shoulder problem, a shoulder separation, has not done very much for 7 full weeks. We'll see just how in good a shape Brad Kotz is for the playoff action, which is coming up next. From the Spectrum, stay tuned, everybody. Once again, welcome to the Spectrum. Larry Rosen with play-by-play, Tony Seaman with color commentary, as we look to begin the playoffs of the Eagle League. Before this game begins, we're going to have a special Most Valuable Player ceremony coming up in just a moment as both teams huddle. Philadelphia Wings in their black and silver, and the Washington Wave in their red and white. And let's go down to Lou Nolan for our special pregame ceremony.
The award is Frank Swanson, owner of Gold Medal Sporting Goods. Ladies and gentlemen, the 1987 Gold Medal Most Valuable Player Award is presented to the Wings player who ended the regular season with 12 goals, 14 assists for 26 points, making him the Wings' leading scorer for 1987. A 2-time All-American from Johns Hopkins University, and the Wings team captain, John Tucker. Let's hear it for John Tucker, Wings' most valuable player. Congratulations, John.
And he gave the trophy to Ed Rubenstein, head of the Spectrum. Make sure he gets it back, and proud to say that I voted on behalf of the broadcast crew for John Tucker. What do you think about that, Coach?
You know, I'm 100% behind that pick. I tell you, I got a 13-month-old son, and if I could ever have him grow up like anybody, not only athletically, but I would love to see him turn out like John Tucker as a human being as well.
John Tucker, not one of the big names when we began 7 weeks ago, but turned out to be everything that you could ever ask for in a player, taking the body, scoring the points, doing whatever it took. As we look and see Kevin Bilger, who will be our guest at halftime in the nets, has played almost every minute of the season, a one-time backup goalie in his college days, thrilled to get the playing time. And Bruce Winan, we're seeing tonight, starting for Washington, and it really has been a bit of goaltender roulette for the Wave this season.
Yeah, it certainly has been. Mr. Little, who had a great game here when Washington Wave came up here for their first encounter against the Wings, was just stupendous in the first half. And then we saw Bruce come in the second half after the Wings had gotten to Little a little bit.
There are tonight's scratches: Dennis Way, Mark Johnson, John Krumenacher, Bob Powers, and Dave Tasker for Philadelphia.
Ready to go.
And for the Wave, a host of scratchers, including Neil Bartholomew with the flu. And we are indeed underway in the first few minutes. Again, usually quite intense.
Players mixing up in front of the...
And that's Philadelphia with the first possession. Conley comes out with it back to Singleton. Left wing they go, and the change to the more offensive unit with Mike French. Shooting and scoring just that fast. Mike French through the 5-hole of Winan. And again, within the first 30 seconds, Philadelphia on the board first.
You know, Larry, Mike French said to me down in the locker room, he says, you know, there's not that many games left. Who the hell couldn't be up for this one? Here we see, he just takes a real nice bounce shot, and it's off to the side of Winan. That goal is so important for him to make that first save of the night on the first shot. It goes in. Now your mind starts saying to yourself, hey, what's going on here? Can I handle these guys? And on the other hand, the Wings are saying, hey, let's start firing at this guy.
French now with 15 goals. And it was a side armor. They got through, and it is indeed 1-0 Philadelphia. John Conley, the little guy, taking both the opening draws. JC from Towson State gets the clear possession and then heads for the bench. And it's Philadelphia in the slot. Shot taken and handled along the side by Mark Johnson. Philadelphia controlling the loose ball. Here's Tim Voelkel wearing his third new uniform number, now wearing number 4. Quick shot goes wide. And the cross for Henry Chicharone, who takes the hit, and almost a loose outlet for Matt McGeady. Philadelphia's had the ball through the first minute and a half.
Down in Washington a week ago, we saw the Wings control the faceoff. So important throughout the game. And now again tonight, it's happening.
Winan gets the right boot out front. Recovered by Philadelphia. Voelkel behind, looks in front. And some touch passing by Townsend. Dennis Townsend ineffective. And it rolls on through the crease. Along the boards, John Lehman has an outlet. Matt McGeady goes in alone. Bilger will wait and beat him. Bilger lets his man commit. And then McGeady takes the punishment from Tucker. Here's Gary Henley. The cross in front. Bilger stops John Lehman. So as you said, Bilger gets that early confidence builder.
That's right. So important. So at one end, we see the first shot by the Wings go into the goal. At the other end, Bilger with 2 saves. And it gets it going. The juices are flowing, and you feel confident.
Here's John Grant, who missed the last time out, caught up in Canada, made the cruise down. The weak backhander handled by Winan has an outlet, chooses not to go after Joey Gold.
The fastest person on the Washington Wave team, Joe Gold. He certainly burnt the Wings the first time up here last month with 4 breakaway goals in the man-down situation.
Urso working the point efficiently. The low shot taken by Holtzkamp, handled by Bilger, and a crease violation. It'll belong to Philadelphia. We played almost 3 minutes, 1-0 Philadelphia, and Kevin Bilger the early difference. Again, French is wearing 20. Paul French had worn 14 through the course of the season, wearing 20 tonight. And he's got Singleton playing that high post, gets a pick from his brother. The cross to Pat Handley, who's emerged as a goal scorer. The over-the-shoulder pass shot wide by French. Deep rebound cannot be taken by Singleton, but Pat Handley runs it down. Handley working on Gold. Remember the shot clock at 9.
We're watching a zone defense here by the Washington Wave. This is the first team we've seen play a zone defense regular. Both teams 5-on-5, and they're playing a zone defense, so they're just watching people in their own particular area. This is the first time. Now, this is definitely a change of strategy by Coach Beardmore.
Beardmore also using groups of 7, and he'll take 2 players off on the offense and switch them with 2 for the defense. Situation substitution. Urso, though, scores. Frank Urso, who's improved most with each time out, beats Bilger on the low shot off the pick and roll.
Yeah, we're going to see. There's the pick. He comes back as he falls down, and there's Urso. Takes the hard overhand crank. What a difference in his shooting technique that we've seen since the first time up here. He was the big sidearm velocity shooter. He's learning how to play the game. Overhand, good bounce, and it beats Bilger to the left-hand side. We've watched the Washington Wave under Coach Beardmore. Their offensive philosophy is that pick and roll.
Urso is 7th. Joey Gold picks up the assist. And it's 1-1 through 4 minutes. Washington the clear possession as Chip Carlson came up with a face-off. Unbelievable, just that quickly. Mark Gold pumps it through the pumper, and it's 2-1 at the 10:47 mark.
This is outside. This is way out of the red and white stripe. This is a good 25 yards from the crease. You see a big bounce, and Bilger just doesn't get there to cover.
And that is a goaltender mistake, if you will.
Yeah, absolutely.
And Gold now has 8 goals as a pair within 15 seconds. Of course, the winner of this one will play Baltimore's Thunder for the league championship. The Thunder, an upset winner over the first place New Jersey Saints. We'll talk more about that as this one continues. And there's Carlson to Matt McGeady. And McGeady works the left wing.
Here comes the wave.
Waits for Gary Hanley. Again, Philadelphia playing that straight man-to-man, working off picks and screens. Shot is well wide by Al McGuckian. This is a 3-on-3. There's Ciccarone at the top. He'll wait. Oh, inside for Tucker. And a nice little pass back by McGuckian to Winan.
Out by goalkeeper Chris Winan.
But Tim Boko comes up with it. Drops for Lehman. His shot is blocked in front by Mark Huffman. And Huffman takes a pop from Lehman. He'll go back at him again.
Mark Hoffman finds out what it's like to be a goaltender for a brief second. He probably has a nice indentation in his chest from that shot.
And not that much forechecking done. Surprised to see Lehman go for it. 1-on-2. And now the set offense. The screen at the top for Gold. To Tucker's left. Gold, his own rebound, just fires it across the goal mouth as Tucker couldn't come up with a loose one. And we played 6 minutes. The Wave a 2-1 lead. Philadelphia has beaten the Wave twice in 2 very different contests. One a come from behind, the other kind of a start to finish control. And here's Philadelphia.
We see him in a 2-1-2 zone. 2-1-2 zone. Very familiar with a lot of basketball fans.
Winan handles that one easily. The one-on-one effort from Jeff Harris. And what they're doing is trying to cut off the slot area with that extra defender.
I think what Coach Beardmore would like to see happen is force the wings to take perimeter shots. Don't give them the stuff inside. Don't get beat one-on-one with the shake and bake moves of Tucker and so forth. And so far, it's proving pretty effective.
And good floor balance shown by the Wave. 3 men back to await Pat Hanley. In transition, Hanley can do little but stop and wait and set up for French. French loves to roam back to his left, double team in the zone. That's the passing lane that's cut off efficiently. J.P. Lindsay comes out with it on the run to Jimmy DiCarlo. His shot is wide on the long side as Bilger gives the shooter nothing short side, forces him to go wide. Now to attack that defense. Quicker ball movement generally is the key against the zone.
Definitely. That's what, you know, that's another thing I think a lot of people make mistakes about. Against the zone, very important for ball movement, but also I think player movement is very important. Off the ball, the people without the ball, get them moving.
Mark Gold stepped into the passing lane, and now is hammered by French. From behind to DiCarlo in front. The drop, the shot is low by Al McGuckian, and we've got Scott Boyle with his arm in the air.
we have a slash against Mr. French. After he got boarded, we see him retaliate.
And French in the box. And if my notes are correct, that is now 5 penalty minutes on the season for Michael.
Wings penalty is the number 17, Michael.
Former all-world player out of Cornell University, second all-time scorer, picks up a penalty. And we'll see the man advantage set. Washington, number 1 in the Eagle League on the power play at 65.6%, but missing Neil Bartholomew. Philadelphia, number 2 as a penalty-killing unit at about 46%. And a bad giveaway there by Emmett Printup. And do we see Mr. Kotz on the field? Yes, Brad Kotz is out for the first time. As off the ball, a good hit. 1-on-4. And 1-on-3, good work by Singleton to kill off some penalty time. That's Greg Manley now double teamed. And here's Brad Kotz. First time we've seen him with his former Syracuse partner. His shot off the stick side, handled by Bilger. Kotz had that serious shoulder problem, missed 7 full weeks of action. His legs, I'm told, are in great shape, and the shoulder nearly 100%.
That was certainly evident right then as he walked away from 3 players. He's got very excellent speed.
And an easy strip on the right side from Manley. Here's a 3-on-1 developing very quickly. McGeady has the pass to Lehman, whose shot is handled by Bilger. Rebound Brad Kotz, switches hands. That one off the protector of Bilger. And now with it comes Pat Lehman. He's wrapped up by his brother John. And now Emmett Printup and Pat Lehman have a few words.
We should get a hold here on Lehman. I don't know if that's what the ref's going to call, but it certainly was. He tried to wrap him, and he put his arm around him to hold him, but I'm afraid now we're going to have a face-off, and there's not going to be a penalty. Speaking about Bilger, we saw him come down. Here's our replay on the penalty. You see, pretty good shot to the head there.
That's Emmett Printup and Lehman. Earlier, Pat's brother John wrapped him up. And your point about Bilger?
The point about Bilger was on that one-on-one breakaway. He held his ground and then reacted to the shot. And his incredible quickness got him to that right pipe as Kotz let go of the ball, and there was the save. Just an unbelievable reaction. Instead of filling the goal with mass, as we see the larger people in this league attempt to do in the goal.
That's generous, the larger people.
We see Bilger hold his ground and then react to the shot, and he makes a great save.
And he said in a 6x6 outdoor net, he must be mobile. In the 4x4, a lot of people try to just hang tight. 25 and counting on the shorthanded set for Philadelphia, as French remains in the penalty box following his slash. And several players taking the body, nobody taking the ball, which is good for Philadelphia. As the MVP, John Tucker fights forward at center. DeCarly nails him from behind, and Tucker sees his man. He's gone back after Jim. Can't get much of a piece, and down goes Tucker. But Vogel, the possession. French is now out of the box. Vogel triple team. And kind of a ragged several-minute segment with 5:13 remaining in period number 1. A penalty call coming.
Yeah, they got him up in the face. It's going to be a minor 2-minute.
That'll be a Mark Gold.
Here we're going to get a great camera shot of it along the boards, right there, right up in the face mask, in the nose, and the mouth, with the right fist.
Gold, the leader in penalty minutes for Washington, now has 17 minutes. Kind of a feisty young fella.
2-minute minor, Washington's Mark Gold.
Ciccaroni's taking over the point. John Grant's on the outside shooting, which is a nice idea. There's
Huntley, Dave Huntley, the general manager, walks in front and scores. Great position by Huntley to receive the pass.
Great setup by John Grant. Just a beautiful play. I like the idea of Coach Steve Way moving him over there. He makes the catch and puts it top left corner. Winan has no chance.
Winan kind of held on his pipe and did not come off his line to cut down the angle as Huntley moved further from the net to set up a better angle for himself.
Exactly right. It moved so well without the ball to enable John Grant to put the ball there in his stick. And we've made comments on that in 5 games now, Larry, where we said that they got to get the ball to the inside shooters. They finally do, and a nice goal to tie it up.
And it's the 4th for Huntley since joining the active roster. This one on the power play. And it's 2 aside. Once again for the right to meet Baltimore for the Eagle League Championship. Should it be in Philadelphia, it'll be next Saturday at 1. If the Wings win, they will host. And the same lineup out for Philadelphia, trying to work some interior passing against that zone setup. Just over the stick of Lehman. And it's going to be white ball. Violation.
I've always wondered how referees determine the color of the team.
Yeah.
We're black and gray, but we're white tonight. The Wings are white. I guess it's the helmets.
And it was a violation on the Wave as Huntley looks to shoot. Nothing develops. Drops it back across the top for John Grant. Grant has a screen and takes a couple of pops. Huntley gets inside, can't get it off, and serious contact Huntley and Hoffman. From behind, Grant likes to operate back there. Lehman, side armor, Grant the rebound. That will recycle the shot clock in front. The back pass for Lehman. Handled by Kevin Forrester on the rebound. Crowd loves those pretty shots as Gold and Huntley hammer each other in the middle. The forechecking of John Grant. Grant drives down from Ontario in a big band with about 9 or 10 of the better junior players in this game from Canada who come to see the old man do his job.
Wait for another change, 1 more player.
I would think that they would try to get John out on a situation like that where Washington's holding the ball, but they let him play defense, so we'll see what happens here.
And that one goes up and over. Philadelphia possession in the final 3:15 of period number 1. And the scoreboard does indicate what has been a very even first stanza. The outlet, Grant to French. Paul French. Waits for Singleton.
Let's see how they try to attack this 2-1-2 zone now.
And it's Bill Weicker in the middle, just looking for cutters to keep the porch clear. The low shot over the top had some authority from Pat Hanley. But the clean rebound. Look at Gold turn on the speed in the open floor. Has a left wing pass for Holtzkamp who can't handle. And then Gold is drilled by J.R. Castle. The action behind Holtzkamp for Gary Hanley. A late addition to the Wave roster. Orso says why not. Hanley in front. Shot. Oh, that one slipped through the 5-hole and then hit off the outside of the far pipe. The action heats up to our left. High stick thrown there by Pat O'Connor of Washington, who comes off.
We got a penalty. I think it's a hold now. We wait to see what happens here. That should be the call now.
French is shot off the face guard of Winan, and the call is made. And it is indeed a hold. And it should be on Pat O'Connor. There's O'Connor, 14. He's holding on to the stick, and he's going to take another shot if we let the tape roll long enough.
Washington penalty is number 14, Pat O'Connor. Holding it, 12-15.
And it is indeed Pat O'Connor, who was trying to hide on Buddy Beardmore's bench. Can't come up.
Well, let's see if the Wings can be as effective now again with this power play as they were the last time. They got Ciccarone on the point. He'll try to move the ball. He's got French to his left, and he's got Grant to his right.
And again, Huntley working low in the left-hand crease roll. So the offense will be strong side against the zone. Shot score by Henry Ciccarone. So both power play opportunities have yielded quick results for Philadelphia tonight.
2 for 2, certainly impressive. Real nice overhand shot by Ciccarone. He forces, they're leaning over to guard Grant. He comes down the middle now. He gets both players to play him and takes a real good overhand shot that just beats Wynant.
Wings goal, score by number 23, Henry Ciccarone.
And the assist will go to John Grant. And that's one Wynant should have handled.
I think that was in the very famous Larry Rosen 5-hole.
Thank you very much. Ciccarone now with 6. Grant his second assist of the night. It's a 3-2 Philadelphia lead. 1:48 remaining in the first stanza from the Spectrum. Larry Rosen and Tony Seaman, happy to bring this one to you. The Eagle League semifinal. Washington, 0 for 2 tonight, had led the league in the regular season in penalty killing with a 73%. So they stopped 3 out of every 4. 0 for 2 tonight. Here's Gold. Stripped very easily. And the loose play in front will be picked up by Gary Henley. Shot will reset the clock and head for the stands, about 5 rows up.
We'll have a face-off because they hit the goalie and that caused it to go out of bounds. And we have a face-off.
Of course, Gold, the best face-off man, Mark Gold, the best face-off man for Washington, has taken most of the important draws. And little John Connolly has been taking some of the important draws for Philadelphia. It'll be Dennis Townsend to take this one to the left of Kevin Bilger. Dennis, 43 years of age, with that heavy knee brace on the right knee. They'll do it again. Looks like a timeout taken. Coach Buddy Beardmore will take a timeout, try to reset the floor for this all-important final minute 16. Timeout on the court. Philadelphia has a 3-2 lead over Washington. This is Eagle League semifinal. Back to complete period number 1 right after this timeout. And back in the Spectrum, a 3-2 Philadelphia lead as we prepare to close out the first stanza. Even strength on the floor right now. Philadelphia 2 power play goals and thus the 1-goal lead. Now, after the clear possession, quickly a change as Henley comes out and Mark Hoffman sits down. Weicker goes off and Magukian comes on. So it's really a 7-man unit, offense and defense situation substitutions. And Magukian walks off the bench and in on Bilger, fires high and wide. Kind of a unique strategy for Coach Beardmore. McEady to Magukian. And a great job recovering the rebound for John Tucker. And we'll have a possession.
I think we got in and out of the crease. The goalie was outside and then back inside.
And that no penalty, just to clear
change of possession.
Change of possession. The backhand shot taken by Mark Gold, easily handled in the midsection by Bilger. And he gives up to Vogel. Shot clock, a 45-second shot clock in Eagle League turned off in the final 20 seconds. Vogel stripped in the open floor by Gary Henley, who walks in. Nowhere to go. 8 feet away. Finally drilled. Well, you got to make a decision one way or the other, Mr. Hanley, or you're going to get your head handed to you in this league.
That's absolutely right. And I tell you, give credit to Kevin Bilger. He has the angle cut down. Hanley's got the shot. He's got to go to the middle, and then it's hello wing.
The blind side hit. Final 5 seconds. See if John Grant realizes the time frame. He does not. And the horn sounds. Philadelphia unable to get one off. So the power play, the difference for Philadelphia. 1 quarter complete from the Spectrum. The Wings lead the way by a count of 3-2 in the Eagle League semifinal. Stay with us, everybody. Second quarter action coming up when we return right after this. And we're back at the Spectrum in an evenly divided first stanza. This one, the difference came from Henry Ciccarone at the top.
It's a power play goal. John Grant draws, fakes, draws, fakes. It's Ciccarone. He's going to come down the middle. No one plays and picks him up. He takes a good hard overhand shot. Score.
Seems to be about 4 or 5 inches below the basket, or above the basket rather, below the padding of the goaltender in the midsection, and that's where that one kind of snuck through around the neck of the stick, and that takes some precision by the shooter.
Absolutely, and you know, we've talked a lot all year long that it's very hard to make saves off your hip because you got to get your stick or your hand up there or down there, and it's very, very difficult. It's the narrowest part of your body, and especially for some of the larger goalies. And that's where you want to put the ball, if you can be that precision to put it there.
Bruce Wynant in the nets. And in stanza number 2, we welcome Al Blau, who will face it off, just arrived. Welcome.
Here we go.
A world-class referee. Now the Wings in their black, trimmed in silver, move to our left. The Washington Wave in red, trimmed with white, will move to our right. Scott Growney loses possession. A couple of hops in front, still runs it down. And Conley to our extreme left, hammering with Kevin Forrester. A lot of size given up by JC. But Al Blau makes his presence felt right away. And we'll see what the call may be here in the first 15 seconds of the second period. Could be coincidental minors, as both Conley and Forrester. Forrester out of Frostburg U, one of my favorite schools. Hit for the penalty box.
You know, I noticed that it's a little bit slipperier tonight. There was a hockey game here this afternoon, and the carpet hasn't been on that long that it's been allowed to freeze, I think, sufficiently. And I see a lot more slipping tonight than we've seen in the last 2 or 3 games.
There's the action in the corner that led to the penalties. And we were here watching the carpet go down. They put down the carpet to our right first. And really the hour or so difference may be significant. Not that much in the way of difficulty down to our right, but there's been some problems with that one seam to our left near what is now the Wings offensive goal. And the last time these two teams met was the John Tucker Show. 9 points, and more than just the points. And Kevin Bilger, likely the difference. 63 shots, he stopped 49 of them. Vogel's going to take some punishment from DiCarlo, who comes out with the ball. 2-on-1, only Chicorone's back. Bilger's got the shooter. The pass comes, and nothing happens. So good job by Cicerone to go over and get the shooter and force the pass. And Joe Gold could do nothing with it. Shot on the fly, taken by Vogel. And the rebound to Tucker. Maybe humble following the MVP award. John's been somewhat quiet in the early going. Alone in front is Vogel with all day to measure and puts it away. Tim Vogel.
Some real lost assignments there on the part of the Washington Wave defensively. You can see underneath, comes up to play him, and leaves Vogel just all alone, and he makes a great cross bounce shot that goes in that low left-hand corner.
Kind of developed in slow-mo as he was able to turn, look, pick, and shoot for his very first goal. Good time to get it for Tim Vogel, his first point in the professional game. And Henry Cicerone will pick up the assist. It is a 4-2 Wings lead. Indeed, 4-2 Philadelphia in the first 50 seconds of period number 2. Here's Don Sadler. Doesn't get all that much in the way of minutes. And again, the clear possession. 2 men go off, 2 men come on. This is the offensive set. So in transition, should Philadelphia get the quick possession, not that much in the way of a defensive posture. The shot and a score on the hop. Jimmy DiCarlo takes the hop long side on Bilger. And Bilger had not been in the game for several minutes, and that might have cost him a little bit of a concentration problem right there.
Yeah, I think we see Bilger go down to his knees, which he hasn't done in a while, and I think it's something that he's got to get out of. He doesn't do often, but here he commits too early on the bounce shot. Goes down, and it bounces up over his stick and over his hip, and it scores.
And you watch the left knee take the short side post as he goes down. That's good training, but not to go down before the shot comes. It's the 9th of the season, unassisted for DiCarlo, and it's a 4-3 Wings lead. And I have a feeling this one may wind up being one of those you score, we score kind of a contest. Neither team really has dominated through the first 16 minutes of play.
I think Washington's been very effective in the regular numbers out there, not in the power play, but to keep the inside shots of the Wings at a minimum. And I think a lot of that is to do to this zone defense now they're seeing. And certainly at halftime, Steve Way, the coach of the Wings, is going to have to make some changes.
Well, there's a timeout on the floor. We'll take a quick break. The Wings have a 4-3 lead. Early second stanza, more Wings lacrosse in just a moment. Philadelphia, the clear possession off the faceoff, leads to a Cicerone shot and a save by Winan. Out of the set offense, Little develops for Philadelphia, and now Beardmore makes those 2 offense for defense changes and walks up to the 5-on-5.
And here's Brad Kotz. We've heard so much about him.
First time he's played. Well, this is 4-on-4 still, the coincidental minors. And that one almost reaches the upper deck, the very top of Section B. under the banner made for Scott Growney. Here's Lehman, back to 5-a-side now. Plus the goalkeepers, of course.
That was a nice handle then by Mr. Lehman as he caught that long pass from John Tucker.
Kind of a 3-2 defensive posture in the zone. And Philadelphia trying to spread it out against the zone. A little bit of standing around as Huntley goes through. That's Jeff Harris. Shot clock down to 10 right now. Huntley, just the one man in the slot. A lot of attention on Manley. And a broken stick. It's 5-on-3 the other way. Good moves by Kotz. Brad Kotz. Length of the floor rush. Ducks it inside out. And beats Bilger low. And most of the shots that have beaten Kevin have come knee high or below. And there's Brad Kotz, who's only played a handful of games. Still third on the team in scoring. Make that second.
Certainly noticeable that the offensive power punch from the Wave has been missing the last 2 games. And Brad Kotz gives him that extra item there, that extra power punch, so important. And you see him go through the wing defense and score a big goal.
Averaging over 3 goals per game. Had 10 goals in 3 regular season contests. That's his 11th. There's a cherry picker, but the pass is too high from Conley. Doing a good job on the draws, though, is John Conley.
Yes, he is. He's doing a real good job. The problem is once you get the ball up, then you do something efficient with it.
And again, the switch to the offensive set, which features McGuckian and Gold. The 2 Golds do not play together. I'm told by their coaching staff that they really don't play very efficiently together, whereas the French brothers certainly do. That one off the left wrist. And here goes French in the open floor. Tries to beat Urso. Stops. Scores! Oh, what a lovely goal out of Mike French on his way down. Urso nailed him from the back, but he got it through the 5-hole. And there's a fight at center at midcourt. Did not see how that developed. But it involves Jim DiCarlo of Washington. Combatants now separated. And we have no idea how that one started. We were following the play, but it will lead to a penalty situation for brother Paul. So while Mike's scoring, Paul is hammering. And let's go back and pick it up in the open floor.
The old 2 men of the game here. Mike French chased by Frank Urso. College players that played in a championship back in the 1970s. Here they go, and Mike with just a great bounce shot between Wynant's legs.
And he knew he was going to get the hit, took it, and then fired the shot.
He's so strong and big, and he can just absorb so much. It's just amazing. He goes down hard, and Urso comes over and picks him up afterwards.
Our producer, John Slobodkin, said that would be good in the foul in basketball. Count the hoop, continuation, and the foul. And we'll have 2 men in the penalty box. Mike's brother, Paul, and Jim DiCarlo in the box. Each 5 minutes for fighting. And they got their money's worth. Again, with the padding, you can't do an awful lot of damage, but you can vent some steam. Then it's a 5-4 Wings lead. It's been a 1-goal contest most of the evening. At the 11:14 mark of stanza number 2, they will play at full strength with the coincidental majors.
Here we go.
10 years ago, I would have bet a lot of money that Urso would have caught French from behind.
Again, Conley, the clear possession off the draw, leaves for Tucker. And the knowledgeable lacrosse partisans applaud the work of the set play off the face-off.
And I think trying to urge Mr. Tucker to get into the flow of the game a little bit here. John's been relatively quiet so far tonight.
Backhand shot in the screen from Vocal, trying to work into a seam. Can't come up with his own rebound, but Townsend does. Broken free by Joey Gold. And it's Townsend. And good floor balance by Washington. 3 men are back. It's 3-on-3. Chicharone moves to his right, stops, tries to pivot on Holtzkamp. Has a man open in front. A low shot taken by Greg Manley. And 5 men in the corner. Tucker now heating it up with Forrester.
Taken by Washington.
And Washington the clear possession. That is G.P. Lindsay.
John Tucker.
And Philadelphia back, so the set offense comes out, featuring Pat O'Connor with the ball in the middle.
Lots of changes by the Wave causes them to want to slow down the pace and play it at their own level. So far, they've been able to create that situation tonight.
Magookian, centering pass, the high bouncing shot from Gold, and we've got another battle royale behind the net. I think Magookian's in this one, and look at Al Blau dive on top. And I think that's John Tucker on the bottom of the pile getting a few lefts in. But he can only hurt his hand hammering on the mask. And we're going to have a crowded penalty box. I believe it's Tucker and Forrester who started this one all the way down to our left. Continued it all the way up the floor with Magookian getting involved with Tucker. And if you're Buddy Beardmore of Washington, you'll do anything to get John Tucker off the floor.
You know, John Tucker's a pretty tough boy, and he comes back hard at most people, but he's visibly very, very upset right now. So something happened down the other end that we didn't notice. Here's a replay. There's the shot that goes high over top. Oh, he took a pretty good swing at him, and another one, and dives on top of him.
Maybe a third man kind of possibility for Vogel as he tried to pull Magookian off the top. But really, John's got to show some poise. They can't afford to have him on the sidelines for too long. And maybe that's what Dave Huntley's saying. Hey, we've got guys that'll take care of that stuff for you. Just play your game. The lip readers among our audience know that John was not thrilled with the penalty call.
Yeah, it's kind of ironic, isn't it? There's Dave Huntley over there telling John, cool down in the last two games. The man we've seen lose his cool probably the most is Dave Huntley.
The general manager, that's right. And maybe Dave said, hey, I'll take care of the guy. We need you on the floor. And a bit of a meeting, a summit among the three officials, Russo, Boyle, and Blau. And Dave Huntley over visiting with John Tucker once more. And while we have this stoppage, a general comment on the ebb and flow of the first period and a half so far.
I really think that the Washington Wave have been able to control the pace. They certainly have come up with a surprise with this zone defense when the teams are even. They've changed it around. It's been a 2-1-2, and then they moved, as you so well spotted just a few minutes ago, they moved it where they took the middle man in that diamond up top. So it was like a 3-2 going from the top toward the bottom. So they're giving them different looks in the zone, trying to create the perimeter shot, letting them see things that they haven't seen so far this year. So that's pretty interesting.
I think Dave Huntley wants an extra penalty against Magookian because he really did start it. Both of them, I believe it is a 2-minute roughing minor on Magookian and a 5-minute fighting major on John Tucker. As really Tucker was throwing his punches after the referees were on top, and generally referees don't like that too much. And despite who might have instigated with the initial assault, Tucker was throwing the penalty. So they will be 4-on-4 for 2 minutes. And John saying, hey, he punched me in the face, I got to retaliate. And Al Blau having none of it. I don't think either coach really happy with this set of circumstances. And through the regular season, the leading scorers for Philadelphia, John Tucker. And these are updated to include the French's additional points this evening. Mike with 25 points, Pat with 21, and Pat Hanley quietly 15 points in a very efficient season for Pat. And John Grant, now in his 5th goal, has put a couple of more assists on the board. So he had 14 points in 4 games, has added 2 assists tonight. And the best that we can understand it, 5 minutes for Tucker, 2 minutes Magookian, 4-on-4 on the floor for 2 minutes. And then a 3-minute Wave uninterrupted power play as John Tucker serves the additional 3 minutes. Plenty of time for everybody to catch a breather. throughout the course of this, and we'll see how Philadelphia responds 4-on-4 with Dennis Townsend taking the draw. Against Jim Holtzkamp, the number 2 face-off man for Washington. Vocal runs it down and winds up in the lap of Buddy Beardmore. And he's not giving the ball back unless it's his. That's not Beardmore.
Mr. Little.
Glenn Little, the feisty goaltender.
And he is very, very upset. He didn't like that call. They're going to face it off again. They said that Vogel didn't have control of the ball when it went out of bounds. That's a suspicious call to me.
And Glenn Little looks nearly as large without the pads. And Winan, Townsend, oh, that was nasty, as it was on the bad left leg of Townsend. He took the hit from Carlson, and you got to wonder about that as Urso fakes, pulls it back out, 4-on-4.
Coach Beardmore and Coach Little of the Wave feel that Frank Urso has become definitely their MVP with the absence of Cotts.
And that time he sets a double screen for Holtzkamp. And a length of the floor pass thrown unnecessarily. Ciccarone goes after his goaltender, Winan. And now it's 4-on-3 as Henry, the last man up the floor. Sidearm shot is wide. And look out, Ciccarone, if he hustles, can run it down alone. Does not have much of an angle, so he's got to stop 1-on-3 and shoot low on the bounce. Vocal comes up with it. Has a man across the crease, slips and falls in that same area. And 4-on-4, this is not a very pretty contest with all the open floor. Henry at the top. 35 seconds remaining until Washington gets that 3-minute advantage. Townsend tries to screen and roll off it.
Yeah, Dennis Townsend is used as the picker, the moving pick, and he comes from on. Now they got a 2-on-1.
Townsend's got it alone in front and goes over the top, and Winan holds the post and beats him. Plenty of room for a fake there. Here's Gold. Will cruise right past Ciccarone and fire it wide on the long side. And Holtzkamp takes the body on Vocal. There's Patty O'Connor, whose shot is wide, long and low, and a penalty coming. 2 minutes on Holtzkamp. Either that or too many men on the floor. And strangely, that penalty comes with 1 second remaining on the Miners. As Washington, about to have a 3-minute power play, will lose the first 2 minutes of it.
Glenn Little has definitely got an Academy Award role going here tonight. He's very, very excitable from the bench, and he puts a lot of emotion. He cares. There's no doubt about it. He'd like to win this and see them go on to the finals against the Thunder, who they beat last Thursday night in a really big upset. So Glenn is very upset tonight in his role. He's still complaining. I think that Coach Beardmore has him in charge of their substitutions from the bench area, and Coach Beardmore is looking over and going, "Hey, Glenn, you screw up?" Glenn's going, "No, Coach, I didn't. The ref screwed up."
Put Glenn Little in the penalty box. In 1 second, McGookian will come out, serving a 2-minute minor that has 1 second remaining. Who's serving the too many men? Is that DiCarlo? Number 19, Jimmy DiCarlo, is indeed in the penalty box. But there is a second member of the Wings in the penalty box.
We're going to have Huntley. There's going to be a box. They're going to play a box against the triangle by the Wave. The Wave are going to be in a 1-2 triangle, and we're going to see the Wings with a box offensive formation. We're going to see Huntley and French, Michael French up top, Paul French down low.
And there's been a penalty assessed to Philadelphia. John Lehman now comes out of the Wave bench area. As Al Blau trying to take over, says, "Nope, we don't need you in the penalty box." And John said, "Well, I'd have served it for you. Nothing better to do."
I think that he's representing the coach and wants to know why the Wings have 4 players on the field and that they should only have 3.
And now there will be a penalty shot awarded when the third minor is given against the team. Instead of making them play 5-on-2, they give a penalty shot in place of that third minor, and Glenn Little is livid, cannot believe it. And This is a rule that may need some going over in the off-season.
I think one thing that I would suggest that the Eagle Box Lacrosse Association do is to rewrite the rules and figure things like this. It causes a great slowdown in the game. No one really knows what's going on. Our producer is asking you and I if we know what's going on.
Well, to the best of my knowledge, a third minor coincidental, you can't put that third man in the penalty box, so it becomes a penalty shot. Now, McGookian has 1 second remaining on his, and there were 2 other minors called. So John Grant, as the fans rise as one, to see the colorful John Grant.
We've seen 1 penalty shot this year. John Grant took it and scored on a questionable call. Let's see what happens here.
Grant goes forehanded. Easy does it. Bruce Winan never moves, and Grant puts it home.
It's that real good box fake again that he uses as he comes down. He watches the goalie's eyes and sees if he can get him leaning, and I think he's going to lean a little bit to his right, and he's going to put it in on his left hip. Get John now. John, get the stick up in here. You got to keep your motion going, and there it is. And he finds that off the hip side. See it coming at you.
You know, even watching it slow-mo, I thought he was going to go long side.
You're whining now. Here he comes at you. Sticks up. There's the fake, and he finds the perfect spot right off that hip. Coach Beardmore is not happy. They still want to know what's going on. Now they're going to give the Washington Wave a timeout.
It's a 2-goal Philadelphia lead on the penalty shot scored by John Grant. Grant, not known as a shooter. Interesting that he would take the shot. I guess you don't need a guy with great velocity. You need that pinpoint placement.
Right, you're going to get in close, and he's got the great fake, so he can make he's going to make the goalie dance before he puts it in and see if he can get a weakness. And so now John Grant is 2 for 2 on his penalty shots.
And Buddy Beardmore clearly called this timeout just to light up Al Blau, the referee in front of us, as they try to figure out just who can come out of the box. We've been stuck in the 7:39 mark of period number 2 for quite some time, but Philadelphia's posted the penalty shot goal. Penalty shots in hockey are few and far between, only called on that breakaway pull down, and that's as it should be in my estimation. It shouldn't really cheapen the call, as you want the penalty shot to be something that fans know is going to come when the time comes as well. And in this kind of situation, very few people realize that there was indeed a penalty shot to be awarded.
It's interesting over in the other side. The referees are there with Buddy Beardmore, but I saw Dave Hunley talking to Mr. Lehman, the captain, John Lehman, the captain of the Washington Wave, and explained to him, and John was listening and then went, okay, shook his head, I understand it. Now he's back talking to his coaches, explaining to him what Dave explained. So, you know, once again, a great deal of confusion here. I think they're trying to get things straightened out.
The only thing we know for sure is that John Tucker has 3 minutes and 1 second remaining on his major for fighting.
And this has just taken 33 minutes to discuss, detail, have the shot, and the Wings scored a goal, and the amazing part is they didn't use up a second on the clock.
And that means there's 1 second left on Al McGookian's minor penalty. Then he'll be the first one out. And then I believe there will be coincidental minors being served by DiCarlo and French. And I think that the minor that was wiped out by the penalty shot would have been the too many men on the floor, which came against the Washington bench.
And Larry Rosen, with the call 2 minutes ago, said you can't have more than 2 men in the penalty box because of that illegal substitution. That would have been 3. He called it right. It was just explained on the public address announcer. And we give another star to Larry Rosen.
Well, fool me once, fool me twice. And McGookian is indeed out, so there are 4 Wings on the floor, and there are 5. Yes, indeed, it's 5 on 4. While Tucker serves his 3-minute major, the 3 minutes remaining on his major, and it looks like Little finally gets the unit he wants, which has Kotz and Printup in the shooter's roles. The shot by Printup, handled beautifully by Pilger. What an outlet pass. And on the run, Lehman on the left wing, as Manley will hold up. Now go to Lehman. Once they're across the middle, they can't go back the other way. And a great lead pass, just a little bit too far, and Winan able to come out with it.
Give and go
Little,
across.
see Glenn Little in front of us saying, slow the tempo, let's wait and set up. Shot and a score. Kotz had just about an inch or two to work with around the elbow of Bilger. That's where he put it short side before Bilger could get to his post, and it's 6-5. And now the question is, does Tucker come out of the penalty box?
Have watched Brad Kotz play lacrosse 4 years at high school, 4 years at the University of Syracuse, and now 2 years in club ball, and he is the best overhand placement shooter in the game. And there you see it, strictly overhand. Puts it right off the hip of Bilger. What a great shot. That's why Brad Kotz is as great as he has and has dominated the game offensively for as long as he has.
And the overhand advantage as opposed to sidearm?
Your placement is so much better, and as we talked about real early, the goalie is only giving you so much vertically. That's where your space is. It's vertical, it's not horizontal. And you're going to be able to put it in, hopefully, off the hip, and it's so much easier to control that placement overhand. And the goalie doesn't know if you're going high or if you're going low when it comes overhand.
And now the discussion centers on who indeed will come out of the penalty box. And it looks like they'll allow French to come out. That's another one of those iffy situations where the coincidental minors, if your team scores, you come out and the other guy stays in, whereas in hockey, the coincidental minors are not affected by a goal either way. Tucker, with 2:04 remaining, still sits. So on the floor, they are at even strength, and John Connolly will take the draw against Mark Gold. And Gold still arguing, why do they have so many guys on the floor? Only one goal on the Paul French major, and French comes out. The rule had been, if I remember, the third goal on a major was when the man was allowed out.
Right.
So that goal should have counted, if you will, against the major to Tucker, not against the minor. I don't want to do this. You do this. We're trying, folks.
Well, I like recognizing zone defenses and man-to-man defenses a lot better than understanding the Eagle box rule book.
And the rule book really has gone through a metamorphosis since the beginning of the season. We tried to memorize it in the preseason, and a lot of things have changed. And the one thing which Tony pointed out very effectively is that you don't like the fans here to have to sit through delays that they know nothing about.
It's so true. It just causes delays. But that's what's going to happen when you start a new league, and you got to get things ironed out, and that's what it's all about. And next year, I imagine they're going to come in and have that hopefully very efficiently taken care of.
Why don't we take a break? Let them straighten it out without us. The Wings still have a 1-goal lead. It's Philadelphia 6, Washington 5. Midway through stanza number 2. Back with more after this timeout. Play can only be called interminable, but it looks as if they've gotten it right. The consensus in press row is that 3 goals on a major, so Tucker should stay in, and coincidental minors should not be impacted by the goal scored by Washington, and that's what's happening on the floor, correct?
Correct.
Thank you.
Play ball.
And here comes Philadelphia. Plenty of time to rest their legs as Townsend hammered from the back, then the front by Matt McGeady. And remember, Philadelphia is short-handed as Townsend goes low. And a whistle blows. Now every time a whistle blows, it's frightening. And looks like Townsend taken down from the rear, forced into the crease, will allow a possession to Philadelphia.
He's going to hold the loose ball hold, so the Wings gain possession of the ball.
And now short-handed, Lehman cannot go back across the center line, can only rag in the middle.
Can't believe they haven't double teamed. Here it comes.
But still very slow in the double team. Broken free and run down by Mark Gold. Gold's got an outlet. It's McGeady. McGeady very fired up before this one, screaming one word in the runway: playoffs, playoffs, over and over, reminding his team it's one and done time in the Eagle League. At the top, Lehman, open along the goal crease areas, print up his high pass to Lehman, weak shot blocked by Townsend, and the outlet taken by Lehman. That's John Lehman, hammered into his own bench. And a stick has been kicked by Kotz. And a whistle blows. And it looks as if there may have been a leg problem. And let's look at it again.
Here he comes down. There's the check. Nothing illegal. It almost looked like he caught his foot on the turf and went down. Let's see if he grabs for something. He doesn't. Oh, he's holding his head. Maybe his head went against the board. I thought it looked like he caught his foot on the turf. And then his head, no, he's going back. He seems to be okay. So Mr. Lehman is up and well.
By the way, the other minor penalties have now expired. So the only man in the penalty box is John Tucker for another 58 seconds. So it's 5-on-4, plus the goalkeepers, of course. Washington moving to our right with a very powerful manpower advantage unit. Lehman in the point. Bad pass for Printup.
5.5 minutes remaining in the first half.
Run down by Gold. Shot ankle high, handled by Bilger, who protects his crease with great authority. And why not hold on to it? Down the man. Bilger kills 8 seconds himself, then throws it wildly. Here's a 2-on-1. McGeady hammered from behind. Mike French. Check avoided by Gold. Good job by Townsend, but that will be a crease violation.
Yeah, Dennis caught the ball, and then he stepped into his own crease.
Printup shoots and scores before Bilger knew play was back underway. How do you like that? Bilger looking at one official, the other one put the ball in play. And that's a tough one for a goaltender to absorb.
And there's Mr. Little. He's happy.
Look at
You see,
Bilger.
Bilger's looking over here at the left. He has no idea that the ball's on the right. Printup shoots and puts it by him. That's poor. That would upset me.
And looks like Dave Huntley's going to take a timeout and go talk it over.
You've got to identify to the goalie where you're giving the ball on a dead ball situation and let him know. It's not an excuse.
Now, Townsend was in the middle when he stepped in, so it's not automatically left side or right side. It's an official's choice. And Kevin Bilger really had no idea the play was underway. And give Emmett Printup some credit, looked up, saw an empty net, and said, why not? And it's tied at 6 with precisely 5 minutes remaining. And that's a power play goal, Washington.
Boy, we have seen some unusual situations here tonight. There's no doubt about that. This game has just been bulked up with unbelievable situations and goals and arguments and clarifications. But it's 6-6, so it's the first minute of the rest of the game right here. It's all tied up.
It's taken an awfully long time to play the last 3 minutes of action. And here's the play. Printup picks it up, is told possession you, never even checks, or does he indeed? Yes. Hands it over to the official. No. Official said, all right, back underway. Kevin looking left all the time, and it's behind him. Unbelievable.
Well called. What can you say there? I mean, the referee who had to stand with Printup is the one who blew the whistle, so that's correct. And Bilger just had no idea where the ball was or what the call is. That's tough in a stadium where there's a lot of noise and the crowd's into the game and so forth.
Our associate producer, Paul Jolovitz, keeps our stats, puts that one down as an empty net goal. And it certainly was. French alone is beaten low left by Winan. And he's behind the net waiting, looking. Shot is taken by Conley. Deep rebound. Handled by Growney.
Some real nice ground balls, some real nice rebound control by the wings. They get 4 shots and they keep the ball.
Conley only scores from high so far, and it's French. Oh, had his brother cutting through that seam in the zone. And that's a tough entry pass through several different players. And here comes Jim DiCarlo. Great speed. The drop pass taken by Urso. His shot is wide. And the long rebound for Scott Growney from Harrington High School in Montgomery County. Takes a shot in the face, loses the ball. And here's G.P. Lindsay. And up and down they go. A cherry-picking Urso can't get near Bilger. Really ragged play at both ends. French takes the back pass. That's Michael. Spins, looks, shot, save. And J.R. Castle knocked in the crease.
It should be a push into the crease. Al Blau calls a push into the crease. That's a very good call. So it stays Wings ball. Push him from behind into the crease.
And Castle had plenty of time to load up and didn't get it done. And we're tied at 6 in the final 3:40 of the second stanza.
Boy, they're the kind you like to cash in on when you get one-on-one like that inside. That was nice ball movement.
And a loose pass taken by Townsend. Getting a lot of minutes is Dennis. Tucker, who's been quiet. Got to get it going. Has a man in front to score. On the bounce shot. Great pass from Tucker to Manley, and Manley puts it home for a 7-6 Wings lead.
Great pass by Tuck and a great shot by Manley. Nice job.
There's Manley.
Here's the play. John draws, dumps underneath. Manley turns, puts a nice bounce shot by Winan. Real nice play.
Kevin Forrester a little late covering up. Good job by Manley to get it off. His 6th of the year. He had 2 against Washington last time out. Now has 6 overall.
There's one of the problems of a zone defense. You get 2 people committed to the same zone area, then you're going to leave people open backside, and Tucker very effectively finds Manley.
And Philadelphia, the 1-goal lead. Timmy Voelkel comes out with it. Good check by Tucker. And Gold thought about hitting the back, but said, not you, John. Voelkel, good movement, sidearm the shot low and wide. Deep rebound will be taken by Gold on the open floor. No, he can't pick it up. And he's drilled by Townsend. And the clear possession for Tucker. Tucker kind of hanging back in the middle, not forcing the offense. Pick and roll from Ciccarone to Townsend. And Washington comes out with it. That's Johnny Lehman. Tries the back pass to Urso, make that to Gold. Gold, good stick fake work, and is free in the corner. Has a cutter. Pass is blocked, finally picked up by Hanley. That's Gary Hanley. John Lehman in front, and the low shot taken. And Mark Olds really had no shot. Tried to short hop that one.
I think it'll be real interesting to see some replays of the first couple games and just watch how all these players' stick skills have improved for the box game. It's funny to listen to you call the play-by-play, Larry, and just hear you go, wow, look at that fake, and look at that stick skill work. How each player has just improved so much.
Good set play for Danko, and he can't handle Huntley's perfect lead pass. And Paul should have handled that one, the North Carolina product. Or make that Jeff Harris, number 19, not 15, I'm sorry. Harris, the man who had the open slot area in the final 140 of the first half. And really, John Grant not out there with the Frenches in this set. He's out there with the new group, including Huntley and Harris. Here's J.P. Lindsay taking the stick work, drops it out front to Orso. Huntley working over his man in the slot area to give a clear view to his goaltender. That's Joe Gold with Huntley. Orso, as the shot clock reaches 10 right now.
Yeah, Huntley's been very effective. Real good man-to-man defense here. Now Urso's going to try his move against John Grant.
Right on by him. The shot just wide. Great work by Urso to set him up. Joe Gold. And Gold shoots it wide. Rebound taken by Al Magukian, deep in his own end. And now G.P. Lindsay looks for Gold. Gets his own rebound and scores. Maybe a bit of a screen set up by either Gold or Wings Harris. But either way, the long, low shot beats Bilger, who was shaking his head in the crease. We're tied at 7.
Yeah, we see outside the rebound comes off. Picks it up. It's underhand. It's a low bounce. And Bilger just lifts his stick up a little bit too high, and it goes underneath. For the score, and that hurts with only 46 seconds left. Ties it up 7-7.
I think Gold might have had a bit of a screen on in front. Lindsay his 9th. And we're tied at 7 once more. With 46 seconds remaining, this would be the final full possession as Groundy comes out with it. Works around his man. Mark Gold, here he comes. Shot is low, easily handled by Winan. Telegraphs the sidearm shot. And in the final 30 seconds, we'll see if Washington waits and sets up for one. Brad Cox has 2 goals, really made his presence felt, and he's defended by French. Cross the crease, pass blocked off by J.R. Castle, who is ahead of the pack. J.R. with that tough foul, picks it up, goes in and shoots it well wide. Rebound is taken by French, who never gets a shot off, and a crease violation, Philadelphia. In the final 3 seconds. 2 great opportunities to go into the locker room with a lead for Philadelphia. And we might have a penalty call
Yeah, Paul French, after he ran by and dropped the ball, he gave a slap check to the goalie.
Here's Castle's move in front. Shot it well wide.
Now we're going to see Paul pick the ball up, come down, not get the shot off. Gets a nice check from behind. It goes to Winan. Now watch Paul. He's going to get, there he goes. There's the slap from behind. He's in the crease. He's protected with possession. It's 2 minutes.
And 1:57 of that will carry over. Here's the long shot. Will not count for anything. And we begin the second half where we began the game. All knotted up. 7s apiece in a game which has had an unusual ebb and flow, including a penalty shot for Philadelphia. But we're through one half, tied at 7. Stay tuned. We'll interview Kevin Bilger, the Pumpers, our guest at halftime. Highlights, analysis, and more, all coming up at halftime. At halftime, underneath all those pads, there's indeed a fine athlete, a goaltender, named the Pumper, Kevin Bilger. Kevin, welcome to our Philadelphia microphones. First of all, tell me about the nickname. How'd you become the Pumper?
Well, it's not really as bad as some people may think. It came from my high school coach, Dave Creighton. My last name's Bilger, and if any of you have a boat, you know of a bilge pump on a boat, and that's how I got it. And it's stuck with me since high school.
Well, that's innocent enough. Your collegiate experience, you didn't get an awful lot of minutes, and yet you stuck it out, persevered, and now you're starring in the Eagle League.
Yes, I am. It's been a long time since I've really gotten this much playing time, since I have played every game here, and it's just been amazing for me to accomplish what I have thus far.
Most of the goalies we've seen have been very big fellas, especially rotund around the middle to cover all the area, and kind of standstill goaltenders. With your kind of lean build, is it a little different game for you than it might be for like a Buzz Shane?
Yes, as far as my size goes, I don't take up as much of the goal as he does, but I do have a little more mobility than he would. I'm a little quicker in the arms and running after a ball if I have to.
Let's talk about that. How much are you expected to go chase down balls in the corners and behind the net? And your outlet passing seems to have gotten better as the season's gone along.
Yes, the outlet pass has gotten better. I have to get it better because that's the main thing for the goalie. As far as chasing balls outside the net, our coach rather have me stay inside the crease, but once in a while you find me outside because of my field temptation to run out.
Sure. Coach Seaman and I talk all the time about cutting down angles and whether the goalie should commit to the shooter or force the shooter to commit first. When you have someone bearing down on you one-on-one, what's going through your mind?
I just try to find the pipe closest to where he's coming down, set myself, and actually just give him a corner. Try to take up as much space as I can and let him shoot and then react to the shot.
So you're going to let him make his move and then you make yours?
Yes, yes.
Is goaltending as crazy? The commercials talk about the Indian Sphere hurling 100 miles at Kevin Bilger's face. What's it like? Give our audience a sense of what it's like in the net with everything coming at you.
It may seem a little crazy. It's easier to see the ball when it comes straight at you, but the ball is going above 80 miles an hour, close to 95 at times. And I've been playing goalie since high school, and everybody says I'm crazy, but I kind of get along with that. It's kind of a big challenge for me to be able to stop a shot that fast.
And the difference between indoors and outdoors, the '1 difference between the two games?
You work on quickness as far as for field lacrosse because we hardly wear any pads, and the goal is 6x6 compared to a 4x4 goal where all we do is try to take up space.
Well, Philadelphia would not have won the games it won without Kevin Bilger, the Pumper, our halftime guest. We'll come back with first half analysis, highlights, and more in a moment. Stay tuned, everybody.
Bouncing, keep his motion, fakes high, and then puts it right off the hip of Winan. And that's John's 2 for 2 on the penalty shot this season.
And remember, it cannot come to a full stop. And the impact of Brad Cott seen in the first half.
Yeah, we certainly have heard so much about him through the year. We see the nice overhand shot. He finds that top corner. Hardly any space at all.
And the second quarter, again, the mixture of blue and red shows you an evenly divided first 30 minutes of action. We stand here tied at 7, and perhaps the difference might be that Bruce Winan, who we're seeing for a full game. Here he does some nice business in front, keeping his club within striking distance.
He gets that foot out, able to handle that high bounce shot and get it to go up over the pipe. And he's done a real nice job in there so far. And of course, that zone defense has been very effective as well. Finding the man underneath, he takes it off the left shoulder. And a nice save.
J.R. Castle, the man taking the shot, paying the price. But we're tied at 7 as Glenn Little, the man of the suit, talks with his charges. And a little bit surprising that the intensity is not mirrored what we saw through the course of the regular season, really.
You know what's funny, Larry? To me, I was just sitting here saying to myself, why isn't the intensity there? And you know, John Tucker has not been the person that we've seen him all year, getting the crowd going, getting you and I going, getting the wings going. He's almost been like he's laying back, he's holding back. You called it a couple times. He's come downfield slowly, he's playing more of the defensive role. He hasn't involved himself offensively yet, and I think that's going to be an important thing here in the second half. He had 9 points last time they played the Washington Wave, and he's only got 1 so far tonight, so he's got to get himself active offensively.
There is John Tucker, awarded the MVP trophy by gold medal. The MVP plaque, I should say, in our pregame festivities. Remember, the second half will begin with the Wings shorthanded, as in the penalty box is number 20, Paul French. Took a little whack at the goalkeeper in the final 3 seconds of the second period. Will open in the penalty box, and with Brad Kotz playing almost exclusively man up, that's another great reason not to take penalties if you're Philadelphia.
Absolutely, and this face-off is going to be very important here to start the second half. It would be nice if the Wings could get the face-off so they can control and kill some of that time in the 2 minutes that's left on the penalty. Once again, you want to make the save as the goalie, and a man-up is going to give you a tremendous advantage for the Wave as we start the second half.
As we check out Buddy Beardmore, not wearing that protective covering on his nose, which he had broken a couple of weeks ago. Looking dapper as always, the legendary coach. And it looks like Dennis Townsend will take the draw for Philadelphia. The Wings, dressed in black trimmed with silver. To our left, there'll be Kevin Bilger and net. They'll try to score to our right. And in red, trimmed with white, the Washington Wave moving to our left. And again, 1:57 remaining on French's penalty.
All right, we certainly saw in the first 2 encounters between these two teams that the Waves controlled the first half, and it was all Wings in the second half of both games. Let's see what happens now.
And Gold wins the draw for Huffman, who will head for the bench. And the man-up unit, including McGeady and Printup, will come out. So we'll set the floor of the 4-man box for Philadelphia. Printup, Lehman, Kotz, McGeady, and Gold. Shot taken low at that hip level by Emmett Printup. And a weak outlet pass thrown by Bilger. Does accomplish, though, just what he wanted it to do. And now the possession comes for Washington. McGeady drops for Lehman, and John Lehman will work the top against the Wings 4-man box. Printup goes across to Kotz in his shooting spot. Printup from the top, goes low again. Lehman the rebound. Back pass, shot. Good elbow save by Bilger off Gold. Intercepted outlet by Lehman. Behind the back to Gold and gets it back. Now the man in front is Kotz, who can't handle as they overload the left side. Kotz in the middle. To the wing to McGeady. Switches hands. Lehman. Shot. Save around the elbow by Bilger.
Bilger handles the shot from Lehman.
And a good job by Kevin. As the penalty now down to 45. Tucker again run off the ball. Does not take the body. Does not take the ball.
Pressuring Bilger as soon as he takes the ball. Making that pass.
McGeady goes across. And now Kotz. Penalty down to 30 seconds. Lehman walks in. Switches. Shot by Kotz is wide. Rebound for Printup. And that one around the midsection. And a crease violation against Washington. Philadelphia possession. As Kevin Bilger drawing for breath.
I think we got a penalty here, and I think it's against John Tucker.
Let's see if we can pick it up.
This is a great save here.
Yeah, there he is in the top of the screen.
Here's the rebound. Here's Printup now with the rebound, and a great save. He hits him in the midsection, comes through the bottom of his leg. Tucker with a late hit.
And now a 5-on-3 unnecessary roughness. Printup takes the unnecessary shot, forced from the top. Now the Wings in a triangle with Pat Lehman at the top. Nobody out further than 15 feet. Off the wood, you can hear that up here. Bilger the save. And now out of the box comes the first man. That's French. 5-on-4 again. Hiding behind the screen is Kotz. And now Prinup. Prinup rarely in that point roll. There he is now. The cross to Lehman. Back out front to Prinup. Can't handle. Good aggressive penalty killing. Finally, Prinup gets in front and scores. Emmett Prinup does it with individual effort and a whistle. Following the goal, the red light indeed came on, and we'll see if they're going to allow the goal.
Yes, it is a goal. Prinup with a real nice move. Face dodges underneath. See him get a rebound. Lehman gives a little bit of a check. High fake, low, and puts it between the legs of Bilger.
And Tom Singleton, number 16, never really got over to help out following the screen. And he can stand on the goal line with impunity. And I guess it went in and came through.
Right.
And thus a little bit of controversy, but no question, Emmett Prinup from Syracuse, his 4th of the season. And the Wave have a lead at 8-7. And John Tucker will come out of the penalty box, and they'll be at even strength on the floor.
We're going to reface it. Referee says no possession, ball went out of bounds. Before there was, so we'll reface it. Well, the Wings have to get it together now. They lose the goal there with the power play to the Wave.
And we'll do it again. John Conley, the little guy, tries to face off with quickness against the strength of Jim DiCarlo.
And where those two balls have gone out means that DiCarlo is winning the face. But neither player from either team can get there for the rebound.
Here we go.
So DiCarlo will do it myself. And now he breaks. The good drop pass. Nice scoop and a score by Frank Orso. What a great scoop by Orso off the bounce pass from DiCarlo, who took the draw himself.
Very important now for the Wings to get it together. The momentum's starting to go the other way. Here's DiCarlo with a real nice face-off. Comes down, throws an over-the-shoulder pass, hits Urso with a low scoop that he's able to handle, picks up, good overhand shot, puts it off the hip of Bilger. It's a 2-goal lead for the Wave and momentum.
And the moment Bilger bends the knees, he gives up some pipe around knee height. And it's a 2-goal Wave lead.
And another face-off for the Washington Wave. So important to keep that momentum running.
Orso, as the crowd tries to come into it, Tucker hits his man twice. And the ball finally kicked free. Wide open in front. Shot and a score by Joey Gold. No one within 10 feet of Joe Gold. Everybody doing some ball chasing. And certainly the ball can move quicker than the man, and Joe Gold alone on the right crease.
That's true. There's a lot of good physical contact. He finds him crossed by himself. Once again, a good overhand placement shot. Ken finds a vertical opening on the left side of Bilger.
And let's give credit to Begukian for the nice pass. 3 goals in 41 seconds. And this game for the right to face Baltimore for the Eagle League Championship. And clearly the Wings need one now. Broken free from Paul Danko. And there the quick change. So Beardmore's strategy, offense for defense, and slow the tempo has worked to perfection. Certainly in the first 4 minutes of the third stanza.
3 goals in those 4 minutes. The Wave got beat twice by the Wings coming alive in the second half. And now the Wave has decided it's their turn.
That's Matt McGeady. Sets from the top. Shot clock at 20. Looking. Is Lehman. Loses his man. He's alone in front. Off the pipe. Off the outside of the pipe. Kotz. Good cross. Switch hands in the shot to the midsection taken by Gary Henley. And Philadelphia goes on the offensive. I'd like to hear from Jeff Harris at some point tonight. Now on the floor.
Here comes Jeff getting the ball. Bring out Mike French. Bring out some offensive players. And the Wings certainly need a goal. They need some offensive domination here to get back into this.
French, Hanley, Castle, and Singleton running the point. in an unusual role for Singleton out of Loyola University. Shot is right into the basket. And Winan knows with that 3-goal lead, he can afford to be a little bit conservative and beat the shooters with the angles.
And once again, Beardmore's philosophy in the zone defense, make him take the perimeter shot. Winan will make the save. It works there. Here's the Wave now, waiting for their offensive players. 3 goals in the last 5 minutes. No answers from the wings. Certainly a chance to blow it out.
In front of the score by Frank Urso. And the bunny hop to follow. Frank Urso beats Kevin Bilger from the top of the slot, and it is all Washington in the first 5 minutes of the third period.
Once why the real good pick. Gold goes through, but then he sees Urso cross field. Urso with that real strong shot between the legs of Bilger before he can get him shut.
Well, Urso had 2 goals against Philadelphia last time around. The hat trick tonight, it's 11-7, but certainly not out of the question as Vogel breaks. Shot is blocked from Henry Chicharone, and Townsend has to pick it up. And again, John Tucker hanging in the neutral zone.
Yes, he is. And there's that 2-1-2 zone. Let's see how the Wings will try to attack this now. There's Tucker.
The roll for Chicharone, and he scores. And it was all set up. No goal. No goal. Penalty coming up on John Tucker. I think they're going to wave this one off. An illegal back check by Tucker. And really his check freed up the shooters.
Well, it's certainly a cross check, and it's certainly from behind. So.
And the arm's in the air right away. So you can kill the music. Tucker heading for the penalty box. There it is again. And really, we've seen through the course of the season more and more of the calls made from behind the player.
That really hurts. That really takes some steam out of him. Tucker gets him going alive. Walks over. He's so mad he hits his stick against the box and breaks his stick. So when it gets bad, it keeps snowballing.
And Scott Boyle did put the arm up immediately. So no real delay on the call. Lehman walks to the top. Awfully close to let him walk, and he scores. John Lehman marches down Broadway and drills it high long side and beats Kevin Bilger. It's a 5-goal Wave lead.
Of all the people on the Washington Wave offensive power play, I think this is the guy that you got to let shoot, but you can't let him shoot from 9 yards away, and they just let him walk in and walk in. You see him, he just keeps coming in. The corner men let him come. He puts it in the top corner, off stick side. And cheerleader Coach Glenn Little, the assistant coach of the Wave, is just going crazy down there on the bench, hitting everybody in the head and saying, let's go, keep this momentum up.
Well, Bilger won't sit down, that's for sure. He's the goalie that brought him here. And another clean faceoff won by DiCarlo.
So instead of 11-8, it's 12-7, a big turnaround penalty. Really hurts.
5 goals in a little over 3 minutes for Washington. Really the most serious defensive breakdown that we've seen. And I think Buddy Beardmore has figured out how to coach the indoor game a little bit. Running offensive, defensive substitutions. This is offensive unit that features McGuckian and McGeady. And that shot taken wide, Philadelphia possession. And thus far, now the change to the defensive players, which includes Sadler and Weicker. And Washington has had all the answers. Here's John Grant. His cross can't be handled. At the top comes Pat Lehman to Dave Huntley against the zone. The 2-1-2 as Tony calls it. And the shots are coming from poor angles.
Yeah, they certainly are.
The breakaway, it's DiCarlo. He's going to go in all alone and scores. Jim DiCarlo, and the Wave coming at you in waves. Turn and acknowledge the 50 or so that made the trip up I-95, dressed in red. It's been all Waves. In stanza number 3.
Here we see we got off the rebound and the quick pass upfield to Carlo, who's really come alive here in the third quarter, all alone on Bilger, fakes, gives a head fake, hits the pipe, and it bounces inside the net.
We'll take a timeout. It's all waves in period number 3. Back with more right after this. And the Washington Wave averaging about a goal a minute. And Bruce Winan has held Philadelphia off the scoreboard in the third period. It has gotten serious for the Wings' hopes at an Eagle League title. And the Wings have not been a very good come-from-behind team. They like to play their style, and their style doesn't lend itself all that well to those come-from-behinds. That's why DiCarlo gets the breakaway against the more aggressive forechecking play of Philadelphia.
Yeah, very good point. And as we said, momentum's such a big factor. Here's a young man who can turn it around real quick for you, John Tucker.
He's John Tucker passing to Henry Chicharone. And it looks like Dave Huntley and Steve Way used the timeout efficiently. However, the 2-on-1, only Tucker back. Gold, Lehman to Gold. Ilger beats him high. And again, oh, a bad giveaway. Lehman almost alone in front. But Chicharone clears him out and allows the easy possession. And it's John Tucker working the right wing. Again, Philadelphia forced to play a little bit more aggressively, and look out, a whistle. Looks like an illegal substitution called. 2, 4, 5. They have 5 out, and Glenn Little can't believe it.
Al Blau caught him with an illegal change. He was on the field before his man was off the field over at the Wave box. This could be a big break now. They certainly got to get something going for the Wings. They now have in a power play for 2 minutes.
And basically, do you have to wait till you're in the bench? Is there a leeway given?
Supposedly 5 yards within the bench.
Well, then that's a tough call. If they give him 5 yards, that's a tough call. But Philadelphia must cash in. And I don't even think Winan saw that shot taken. Here's a shorthanded break. If Sadler can control, he does. Again, cannot back pass, shorthanded, so just throws it weakly to open space to kill some time. And will set the floor for Philadelphia.
What happened that time was Chicharone came down like he had the ball, but he didn't. French did, and tried to get Winan's attention, and then they took the shot from the rear behind him. That's
score on the rebound, and they'll let that one count as Winan wants a crease violation, but French cashed in the rebound.
The ball was in Winan's stick, and it got checked out, and that's illegal because he was in the crease. But they counted. The referee's going to let him have it. There's the shot. He's well in the crease. There's the ball.
Oh.
And you see it got checked up by Huntley. The rebound comes over.
Wings goes, scored by number 20.
Well, that's a tough one for a Wave fan.
Well, the Wave fans got a tough one there, but maybe they got a good one about 2 minutes ago when Tucker had an illegal block called on him, so maybe what comes around goes round. But it's a start for a comeback, 13-8.
And the run of unanswered goals ended now at 6 for Washington. It's still 13-8. Lots and lots of time, obviously. But Washington keeps coming up with the face-offs. It can run their own tempo. French knocks it away. And so despite the possession, it's Philadelphia looking for momentum. Pat Hanley, he's been silent tonight. Tommy Singleton goes right wing to French. His shot is easy. Winan gets it knee high. And the shot selection not what it should be for Philadelphia tonight.
No, it certainly isn't. You got to be a little bit more patient against the zone. You got to get the ball inside. You got to get some movement. They're not doing that. They're just taking first guy outside with some room and taking perimeter shots, and Winan's up to the task.
Here's Gold. One here could really help Washington's momentum. Knocked down by French is Gold. Gold holding him around the face, and we'll see if they call something there. And they'll give possession
to the Wave
on that holding against French. Here's Lehman. Tries to beat the setup. Gets it back.
Lehman's the great feeder. He sees the field so well. Here's Kotz.
With Castle, and that shoulder can't take too much punishment. He can only throw it weakly back across midcourt, where Matt McGeady runs it down. At Maryland University, McGeady, one of the leading assisters, likes to play up top. That's why. Great pass. Ilger beats him with the left arm.
There's the old pick and roll again, and it's a great save. Here's the break.
Tucker's in front of the pack. French tries to do it himself. Stops. Looks for Tucker. At the top, Manley drops. and they can merely reset the floor. French will come off with good hustle and replaced by Dennis Townsend. Tim Volkel waits, and against the zone, nobody will challenge. It's a 2-on-2. Man in the middle is Billy Weicker, trying to clear the slot. So they try to work from behind. In front of the score. Ciccarone came around the back, found Manley across the field, and he tucks it in. It's 13-9.
All right, that's a nice strategy. They put a point man on the bottom point. They swing him through, and then Ciccarone comes from behind, and he's open. He makes the handle there, and then he looks cross field, cross the crease, a great pass. Nice shot. They catch Winan, not quick enough to react. It's a big goal. There's 2 in a row, 13-9. So momentum, the fans are back in it. You see the great pass and the good shot.
And Manley snuck in. Manley scores most of his goals from out of the top. One of the few he gets around the net. And a clean win by Dennis Townsend on the faceoff. As we reach the 5-minute mark remaining in period number 3. And the Wave sitting in a 2-1-2. No reason to change. That shot is blocked by Kevin Forrester off Tucker's stick. And in front alone is Hanley, shoots it wide. Townsend takes the body, as does Volkel. And Orso is dumped. Here's Volkel. His shot just easily deflected off to the side. Tucker the rebound. And Winan beats him knee-high. And Tucker is down in the crease. John Tucker took a shot.
Boy, he sure did. He got leveled. And Kevin Forrester really gave him a shot across the midsection. I think it's more his wind than anything else, although it's hard to tell. It's a great interception by Tucker. He comes through, scoops up the ground ball. Unfortunately, didn't see his man open on the opposite side pipe.
And we'll pick up the intercept.
There's
a lot of heavy action, huh?
Urso misses the ball, and you're going to see Tucker come. Oh, no, this is before that, excuse me. Here comes Volkel. Takes the sidearm. Now we're going to get the rebound. Now you're going to see Tucker reach in there, go in, and there's the hit. Right up around the head. Now that we see it on replay, he certainly was up in the area of the throat of the head.
And John Tucker has not moved. They've rolled him over a little bit. And they've gotten the helmet off.
Finally support the Wings in their quest for the first Eagle League Pro Indoor Lacrosse World Championship. I wear a Philadelphia Wings t-shirt.
Tucker now nodding his head. Here he comes in, and watch Forrester come across and level him.
And that was Dennis Townsend on that opposite side.
Johnny's up.
Wide open. There's Tucker.
And certainly down by 4 goals with 4 minutes plus remaining in this period. John Tucker's presence a must. And we'll see where the possession is. It's a Philadelphia possession with John Grant, the general from Petersboro, setting the scene. And looks more like a man-to-man defensive set now.
Yeah, we got a man-to-man.
And Grant will try to go it alone. Double team arrives on Grant, so somebody's open. It's Lehman, can't come up with it. Loose ball picked up by Gold. He's grabbed by Huntley.
Dave Huntley, the old-timer there. Says, well, you're by me, but that old shirt's right there. I'll grab that. Got to wipe off the dirty hands.
And still the tempo being controlled exclusively by the Washington Wave. Matt McGeady, his man falls. That's Harris. Loose one in front. And more loose play tonight than we've seen most of the regular season, including this set of circumstances. Jeff Harris has a man breaking if he can get it to him. Great pass, Danko. He's caught from the rear and stripped. Rebound French, and he's drilled by Emmett Frinoff. Make that by Brad Kotz, rather. And a 4-on-2 the other way. McGeady walks in alone, and oh, I thought he had him beat. That's off the far side pipe. an end-to-end action which favors Philadelphia right now. At Hanley tries to go around Kotz, his bounce shot off the backboards. And the giveaway to Singleton. Score by Singleton. Tom Singleton. And it's 3 unanswered goals by Philadelphia to get back in it at 13-10.
We've talked all night about pace. We see the pace pick up. We see the Wings get back in the game. It's end-to-end. Here's the pickup by Singleton. Got a man open, but he goes high, right-hand side, score. But the pace is picked up. We watched end-to-end 3 different times. That's what the Wings want. That's what the Wings do best. And they get it, and they get an advantage out of it.
And it's 13-10, so this series of minutes was a must for Philadelphia to stay close. And Townsend's had a little bit more success on the draw. This one goes off the scoreboard, but play continues. There's a cherry picker alone. No one sees him, as Joe Gold was jumping up and down, showing us his vertical leap. And again, Beardmore's squad wants to play within themselves. And Frank Urso will set the top. Gets a screen.
Roll. Nice play by Dennis Townsend.
Dennis rides him to the boards, and possession Vocal. And here they come. Chicharone, nice little drop pass for the man Tucker. Good catch and a shot by Chicharone. Great catch by Hanley. Pass was behind him. And watch McGuckian take 2 hits and says, is that the best you can do? He'll leave it for Urso. And back to the walk-it-up style. So no question which team prefers which style right now.
Oh, that's for sure.
Lindsay likes to go right, goes right around Vocal and scores on the short hop. Timmy Vocal let him walk right on by, and the short hop over Bilger's shoulder.
Yeah, Vocal makes a big mistake, tries to go over top of the head and make a one-handed check. You're going to see right here, he misses it, pulls it in, and takes a real nice, hard, high bounce shot.
And you see the way Lindsay anticipated the stick check, pulls the stick down waist height, controls, cradles, and scores.
And the big bounce beats him to the outside. He cut the angle down nice. You can't do anything when it's a good shot. And that was a good shot.
And a great low-angle replay for us right there. It's 14-10 with 1:40 remaining. Here's Mark Gold. Again, the stick check. Shot is wide. Rebound skips through everybody. At Philadelphia. Oh, where'd he come from? Off the bench popped Don Sadler. And the 5-yard rule might have gotten a working over there. Weak back pass comes through everybody. Conley will take a layman hit in front of the Washington bench. Loose ball as Singleton looks for it. And here picked up by Gold. Goes in, and he's beaten by Bilger. Big save there. Don't want to give up that next goal. Loose ball picked up by Gold. In the final minute of play in the 3rd period, a 4-goal Washington lead for the right to play Baltimore for the Eagle League Championship in 1 week. McEady fakes the pass, tries to go on Singleton, drops it back out for Kotz, who's not been a dominating factor, but certainly has been part of this one. Off the left shoulder of Bilger and over the top. So 37 seconds remain in the 3rd period. And that possession should not go directly to Philadelphia. It went off the shoulder of Bilger. But we'll ignore that if you will.
The one ref tried to overrule Al Blau. Al Blau says we'll play it by the Al Blau rule book. So
wow.
We go down Wings.
And here's Grant. Shot clock is turned off. Huntley against that 2-1-2 shoots it at the knees. And Winan gets him squeezed in time. In the final 10 seconds right now. And it looks like Gold just realized he's going to give him his best move here. The spin, the stop, the shot off the elbow. Bilger beats him, and that'll do it for period number 3. So the Wave control the first 7 minutes. The Wings control the final 7, but when all is said and done, the Waves build a 14-10 lead. They'll take that into the final period. We'll come back with it. The 4th period comes up when we come right back. And back for the final period. Could be the final period of the season if the Wings don't rally. Period number 3 belong to Baltimore, including this goal right here by G.P. Lindsay. I'm sorry, Washington. And play is on. And Philadelphia's got to force the action. Now, they've switched ends once more. The wings in black, trimmed with silver, will work to our left. The wave in red and white work to our right. Chicharone at the top against what's now a 3-2 defensive zone set for Washington. And how about that little goal in front by Greg Manley? The one-time pass, catch, and score for Manley, and that's a huge goal in the first 25 seconds.
And a tremendous look by Mr. Chicharone as he looks cross-court. You'll see here, sets up, the zone's not putting any pressure on him. You're going to allow him to feed. He looks cross, hits Manley, who sneaks it by one. His left leg. It's a great pass. Just a great pass. One of the problems with his zone is you don't know who's behind you. I think that in the zone, maybe you got to match up a little bit more and put a little bit more pressure on the man with the ball so he can't make those great passes. You know, Larry, we talked about what the Wave 2 weeks ago when they played here the first time, and we said that the ingredient was Buddy Beardmore, maybe the extra special seventh man. We didn't see much that night. We didn't see much a week ago Wednesday when we went down and covered the game down there, but tonight we are seeing vintage Buddy Beardmore. We're seeing the difference that a coach can really make in a team. He's done some real neat things tonight, an innovator in the first year of Eagle box lacrosse.
And here a rare fast break for Buddy's squad, right out in front, off the pipe. That really pounded the pipe off Pat O'Connor's stick. Rebound to Gold, spins, looks, drops it back. Lindsay feels the heat and works to the right wing, and again the tempo was set. So they look for the quick break. If it's not there, pull it back out front, work the clock with Urso at the top. Gets the screen, goes back to the picker, and a score. And how about French throws a stick at Lindsay instead of taking a man-to-man on the pick and roll, and Lindsay left wide open to score. And that's just a classic pick and roll, and you got to give credit to the offense.
You sure do, and it's once again vintage Washington Wave. We talked about it for 3 different games now. There's the pick, the roll, the pass back to him, and he's wide open. Probably the oldest play in team organized sports there is, and they use it, and they use it, and they use it, and it's successful.
And when Lindsay made the pick on French threw a stick at him rather than go out and cover him, and it was an easy walk down Broadway. And the goal makes it 15-11. Now Huntley slips and falls. And Mark Huffman, the big guy, throws it away to John Grant. And here's Philadelphia in the set offense. Jeff Harris checks onto the floor. Grant working alone. Good back pass to Huntley, but the zone is there. And a nice stick save by Bruce Winan. The long arm of John Grant, and the one-hand pass to Huntley. Tries to cross, but the pass is at the feet of Lehman. And not much in the set offense for Philadelphia right now.
That's not a bad idea to give the ball out to John Grant and let him power in and use that big size and that ability to pass. There's a Huntley pass again.
Score on the ground ball shot. Took 2-3 hops through Bruce Winan. And that's one that Winan should have had.
Yes, Bilger's given up 1 or 2 of those tonight. Winan gives up 1 or 2. In a game of this many shots, it's going to happen once in a while. John Grant gets the pick from Huntley, walks in, takes the bounce, between the legs, score. We'll see it from a different angle, coming at you.
Didn't even take the big windup, just kind of let it fly. And maybe a bit of a screen by his defenseman, Mark Huffman, that we couldn't see from up top. So maybe we won't blame the goaltender just as much. And Washington has called a timeout as they sense an early shift in fourth quarter momentum. So the Wings have cut the lead to 3, a break in the action. The Wave on top, 15-12. More Wings lacrosse coming up in just a moment. Well, in that pivotal third period, a 17-8 shot advantage for Washington and a 7-3 advantage on the scoreboard. It's now 15-12. And Philadelphia usually fires out after timeouts, and they do indeed here. Chicharone gets one up into the face of O'Connor. To make that Chip Carlson. And the man-to-man defense of Philadelphia tested now by Mark Gold. Looks for Lehman. Instead drops back at the top for McGeady. McGeady walks around Tucker and shoots the bouncer. And Bilger comes up with it. And look at this forechecking pressure. So the 3-on-2 works the other way. Hanley leaves for Volkel. And some guys in unusual roles right now, with Volkel getting a lot of time on the floor, along with Townsend. The look is for Townsend. In front, the backhand shot never reaches the net off Hanley. From behind, they'll work. In front again, the backhand is scored. This one by Volkel. Their wraparound shoulder shot of Tim Volkel makes it 15-13.
Really good patience then. They really worked the ball. They're starting to look inside and try to get the better shot. You see the work? Behind, Volkel, behind his back. Wynant, late reaction. Great shot without looking, I'll tell you.
Does the zone allow for that work behind the net?
Yeah, I think it does more so. Once again, it's your philosophy of how to play the zone. Are you going to put pressure on the ball with the zone, or are you going to lay it off? So far, Beermore's chosen to lay it off and not put a lot of pressure on the man with the ball and allow the wings now the chance to feed. What the wings have changed over the course of the game is that they've decided not to take the perimeter shot, to work the ball inside, and try to get the in-closer shot, which the zone will give up if you're patient enough to find the seam.
It's 15-13. It's certainly a contest and a clear possession, Philadelphia. And Lehman will start it up the left wing. And the crowd begins to erupt here at the Spectrum. The three largest crowds in the history of the league, all in this building. And we might have the fourth one tonight. In front is French. Oh, just off the right foot of Wynant. And the quick outlet. And the 3-on-2 break. Gold is open on the wing. He goes to a nice block by French. Shot in the midsection. And oh, it rose toward the line. And Bilger able to stop it. Mark Nasico getting his first minute of action. We'll sit down right now as Dave Huntley goes out. And Huntley works the right side.
And we're back to a man-to-man now by the wave.
Huntley down Broadway. The bad bounce shot goes high over top. Long rebound. And a slip on the seam for Jim DiCarlo. Allows French to come out with it. That's Paul French. To his brother. And that's off the foot as they're trying to work low on Wynant. Then it's picked up by Pat O'Connor. From the University of Delaware is Pat. Plays on the defensive end.
So we see two quick goals against the zone, and Beardmore switches back to man-to-man.
Now we need to hear you.
Potts, great pass. Shot is wide by Gary Hanley.
And boy, we have some misassignments out there, huh?
Again, alone in front was Hanley. Couldn't get it done. And John Tucker cleans up the mess. He's stripped. Hanley again. 3 for a quarter. And Bilger beats him. Score! After all that, Brad Kotz puts it away. And Gary Hanley had 3 shots from in tight. Finally, Kotz off the left wing, the precision drill shooter, gives Washington the 3-goal lead.
Washington goal.
This is a great ground ball here. Lehman finds Kotz cross court.
5:26.
Once again, the good shot overhand right off that bottom part of his hip. His hip and his knee.
It looked like Bilger saw him and came out to try to grade him and never got to the short side. And Kotz now a hat trick. That's about his average. He's got 13 goals in 4 games right now. It's 16-13 Washington.
I think Bilger came toward the ball instead of going to the pipe. That was the difference there.
Tucker knocks down his own man, allows Kotz to come in with it. Looks for a trailer, it's there. And Bilger able to equal that. Here's Tucker, 2-on-1. Has to wait.
Comes the penalty.
And there's a delayed penalty call coming up. And now the call will come as a holding call. Stick wrapped around the head of Tucker and heading to the penalty box is Lehman, and here's the penalty again.
Tucker slows up. You see him grab him, keep it there, hook underneath the chin strap. Tucker tries to dish it off, but it was hit the ground, so therefore the penalty ends, and now you got an extra man power play.
5 on 4. Chickarone at the top. Not Grant. Grant working strong side. Has it. Tries to draw. Chickarone is shot. Is handled. Good catch on the rebound by French to his brother. Chickarone shoots into the basket. And a good possession taken by the Washington Wave. So a couple of relatively high percentage shots. And Winan equal to it. Don Sadler. Now Lindsay can't go back across the line.
Well, I thought he had the line there.
Double team block by DeSico and Chickarone. Loose ball kicked in front. And finally Paul French comes out with it.
That's a chance for 5 on 3, but the Wings just take it up slow.
And they wait for Forrester, who assumes his position in front of Winan. Chickarone. Grant. Looking for a cutter. French's shot on the bounce, and that looked like Winan almost lost possession in front. Will hold on his own. Penalty now at 48 seconds, 37 and counting on the shot clock, and a delay of game. There's a 10-second violation, just like in basketball. You must cross the 10-second line, and Winan elected just to use the 10 seconds himself. Grant able to walk in, fires wide. Deep rebound. And Kevin Bilger will have to run it down.
This is important. You'd like to grab, go within 2 here. Only 20 seconds left in the penalty.
To Huntley, his shot in the midsection. Loose ball. And good job picking it up for Washington. And on the run comes Gold. There he goes. He's dangerous. And a good job by French to deny him the high percentage shot. And it goes out of bounds. Philadelphia possession as the penalty will be expiring in 6 seconds. And the penalty is over right now. Out comes Lehman. And he joins the top of the zone. Shot is wide. Rebound taken by Chip Carlson. 3-on-1 with only John Grant back. They don't want him the only man back. Good hustle by the Wings to get back and deny, and they'll set it up. As the penalty killing unit will leave, and the Gookian will come out as an offensive force, along with Jim Holtzkamp, number 25. Shot clock down to 15. Go ahead.
They're going to milk it. They're going to go down 10, 11 seconds before they shoot.
Shot is wide, will not reset. The Gookian takes the hit. A little bit of a hold, but no call by French. And this will be a 45-second violation right now. First one of the night. And nobody knows about it but us. I guess the buzzer's loud enough. And here's a quick break for John Tucker. Oh, what a great save off the right foot by Winan. And they look to go back the other way. Save of the night by Winan as Tucker was in alone. Gold breaks off the bench. And Bilger takes the loose pass. 2-on-1. In the open floor is Vogel. He crosses, and another elbow save by Bruce Winan at the 5:45 mark of the final period. And it's John Tucker with a fresh 45.
Now you got to wonder when Coach Way is going to pull the goalie, or if he's going to. They're down by 3, 5:28. Certainly quite a bit of time right here.
But you know, Washington will use 40 seconds each possession, and they'll shorten this game up dramatically. Townsend can't handle. Crossing alone in front, and another save by Winan. This one off Greg Manley. And Gold comes out with it. They've got to get it across the 10 seconds line, and they do. Alone in front is Holtzkamp. He'll pull it back out. As O'Connor, he scores! Pat O'Connor with 4:51 remaining. Give the Wave a 4-goal lead at 17-13. And that's not really the offensive unit for Buddy Beardmore, and that group gets him a big goal.
Yeah, he takes the real good angle. He doesn't shoot over there, keeps the ball, ways off the check, then hits his man in the middle, and he's got the whole angle to shoot at and beats Bilger.
Only the second goal of the season for Pat O'Connor out of Delaware, and it could not come at a better time for the Wave as we have a stoppage of play. You saw the ball go right on through the net, so a little bit of darning underway.
Boy, that's such a big goal because the Wings had just missed 3 separate one-on-ones at the other end of the field, and now it come down the Wave, and very effective. They don't take the first shot that's there with no angle, but they hold on to the ball, work it around, and find the man in the middle. Very, very productive for them, staying within their coach's philosophy. And now, once again, as we just brought up, what is Coach Way going to do as far as his goalie is concerned? When they start to get the ball uncontrolled on the offensive end, will he pull and go with that man advantage? We've got a timeout now.
Philadelphia will take their timeout right now to set the strategy for the final 4:51. It's Philadelphia trailing by 4. We'll come back with the conclusion of this one in a moment. Back to the Spectrum, a crowd of 8,027 here watching the semifinal contest. The right to face Baltimore for the initial Eagle League Championship on the line. And Philadelphia in serious jeopardy right now, down by 4. Down by 4, is it time for a strategy change, or do you stick with what you've been going with?
I think you got to start putting a lot more pressure defensively. You try to come up with the ball. Face-offs become so important now. And that one there goes to the wing, so that's a break. Now we got to watch. Here comes Bilger out of the goal.
With 4:43 remaining, Kevin Bilger sits down. So it's Russian roulette time for the Philadelphia Wings. Hanley, three-way passing play. Bogle can't come up with it, and no one can challenge Winan in his crease, and Bilger quickly goes back. So the forechecking pressure now leads to loose play. And it looks like, what, a 10-second violation or an illegal substitution against Philadelphia?
It's an illegal substitution. I'm not sure if it's against, yes, it's against the Wings.
And I guess it would probably be on Bilger coming back onto the floor too quickly. And Mark DeSico will walk the long walk across.
Illegal substitution. Time 10:45.
And at the 10:45 mark, it does not get any better for Philadelphia. Out of the corner comes McGeady. And that shot blocked off. And into the stands it goes.
All the way. Goes to the Wings cabin. 4:07 left.
And controversy as to where action will resume at 4:07. And it is indeed a Wings possession.
Here we go, Wings cabin.
The quick break. This is Greg Manley.
You're down by 4, and you're also a man down. I don't think you can just hold. I think you got to look to go.
Nice bounce pass, Manley to Hanley. The cross, and Winan the difference again. The back pass in front, and that one is in the net. Yes, it is.
That's a great pass by John Tucker.
And he found Pat Hanley in front.
Here he is. He missed his shot. He got his own rebound. He goes behind his head. Gets him open, even though the hit comes from behind. Hanley's able to control the pressure and bang it home.
And that is Dennis Townsend who scores the big goal.
I'm sorry, Dennis Townsend is correct. That's a real big goal for Dennis, the old man of the box league. 3 goals down with 3:46.
Still shorthanded for 1:31. They've gotten one back on the shorthanded goal. 17-14. A huge draw right here between Townsend and Gold. And Gold comes out with it.
Here's when it's loose momentarily, and now it's defense that the Wings are going to need.
And that's over the back. But on the power play, you can do that. And here's Brad Kotz. Shot clock at 30. Game clock at 3:30. John Lehman. It's a 4-corner spread offense as they milk the clock. They'll go into a set probably at about the 15 mark. as Lehman and Urso discuss who's going to be in that shooter's position. Right now it's Urso. Lehman's got the ball. Will look for Urso. No, the back pass in front to score. Oh, my God. Emmett Printup in what is probably the put-away goal. And how do you like that set play?
That was nice. That was very nice. And you can just see everything get drained out of the wings on that one as it goes in. Here it is. Lehman forces. Here comes Printup. They keep Tucker busy down below as he's watching in Mark Gold, and Printup sneaks in between. There he is and puts it away. The other two corner men are playing the corners, and Printup just is a great shooter, and from that angle, he's going to score.
And Emmett Printup now another member of the Wave to put a hat trick on the board. It's 18-14. And, of course, that means they're back at even strength. The illegal substitution is over. But a clear possession and face-offs and goaltending have been the difference in this one. Just a four-corner spread kind of a set, forcing the Wings to chase DiCarlo. Bounces off Chickarone, has a man alone in front for an easy put-away goal, but no goal. Crease violation. Crease violation against Joe Gold. Philadelphia possession. And here they come. The clock is against them. French can't handle it. And Winan is able to come out with it. Four different Wave players have hat tricks. Orso, Kotz, Lindsay, and Printup. And a great job of Orso of bragging some clock. And loose in the corner, DiCarlo will challenge with Singleton. Singleton of the Wings kicks it free. Still loose. And this all certainly in favor of Washington, milking some clock. And here's John Tucker as Bilger will retreat to the bench. Tucker just simply falls of his own volition, and perhaps his leg bothering him from a couple of spills he took early, and the MVP will sit out. Hanley to the top to French. Little shovel pass for his brother. Nice set play brother to brother. And loose in front. Oh, the little backhand shot by French. Rebound taken by David Huntley. And it is all Washington Wave. An empty net. Nobody near them. And a goal easily done by Jim DiCarlo. And that's the pièce de résistance. And the Wings fans start heading for the exits. Jim DiCarlo scores into the empty net. And it will be the Washington Wave versus the Baltimore Thunder for the first ever Eagle League championship.
Well, you certainly have to give the Wave a lot of credit. A week ago, nobody ever expected them to come in third place. They had to play the Wings on Wednesday night. They had to play the Thunder on Thursday night. They lose to the Wings. They come right back and beat the Thunder in a huge upset. And now they come up here a week later, and it looks very much like they're going to have a second upset in a row. And, of course, yesterday, up in the Meadowlands, we saw the the New Jersey Saints upset by the Baltimore Thunder. So we're going to have a Thunder-Washington Wave championship game.
Certainly in a short season, it is most unpredictable to determine what might happen next. And each time a team has played on back-to-back nights, the second night the team has won. So it's those additional minutes together to get some cohesiveness which have made the difference. Here's J.R. Castle. And if indeed this is the end of the season for Philadelphia as Winan makes another stop, we'll thank Chris Fritz and Russ Klein for their work, the commissioner and vice commissioner, if you will, of the Eagle League, and certainly to Ed Rubenstein here at the Spectrum, Carol Jordan, John DeSangro, all the Spectrum personnel that have made this a pleasure. Thank you, Carol and Ed. And it has indeed been a fun go, more than we ever expected in the inaugural season of the Eagle League. Final 50 seconds of this one with Danko, Paul Danko, trying to do it alone, has Castle in front, shoots off the midsection, and then his low shot is handled by Winan. And credit Buddy Beardmore with designing a zone that prevented any kind of interior work where the Wings have lived, a slow-down pace which prevented the open floor conduct of the Philadelphia Wings where they've been most efficient. And Bilger comes out to take the shooter, tries to get a free shot in on Gary Hanley. Hanley finally puts it away, and this one will close 20-14. in favor of the Washington Wave with 18 seconds remaining.
Washington goal was scored by number 41, Gary Hadley.
Well, some impressions on the first year as we look at the commitment by Bilger on Hanley.
He's going to host the championship game.
Been a lot of changes in 7 weeks.
Yeah, they sure have. And, you know, it's interesting. The field guys, I think that the people who played field lacrosse for so long, so upset with the possibility of fighting and violence and maybe the extra hitting and so forth. But when you start averaging 11, 12, 13,000 fans in the arena every night, and you find the success fan-wise, and I think some of the people in the field game, including myself, have to sort of say, hey, this game's here, it's interesting, it's fun, it's certainly skilled. As I'm here talking as the Wings answer back a little bit here to make it 20 to 15, but certainly the game is here to stay from what I can see, and the inaugural season has certainly been a success.
That was Timmy Vocal that scored in the final 6 seconds to make it 20-15, and we'll look at his moment in the sun as he finally beats Winan around knee level. Another hat trick. How about 5 different members of the Wave with a hat trick? You talk about point distribution. Talk about Urso, Kotz, Lindsay, Prinup, and DiCarlo all with the hat trick. And this one is history. It'll be the Washington Wave facing the Baltimore Thunder for the Eagle League Championship. They did everything they could, controlled this one throughout the entire second half, and close out a 20-15 victory over the Philadelphia Wings. Stay tuned. We'll come back with highlights, analysis, and more, all coming up. Stay with us, everybody.